I went to Moscow in the month of July for the first time in my life. I went to Moscow because the State University of Moscow invited me. The State University of Moscow is the premier institution of higher learning in the whole of Russia. And they were listening to my lectures on the internet, and they found that there is an amazing parallel between their Christian eschatology and our Islamic eschatology. What is eschatology? It is the branch of knowledge which studies the end time, eschatology. In Arabic it's called ilmu akhir zaman. Ilmu akhir zaman, or Islamic eschatology. So they invited me because they found this is amazing. Their eschatology and our eschatology is saying the same thing. So I went to Moscow. I didn't know what kind of reception I would receive, because the Russians hate Islam. Oh yes, great hatred in Russia because of what the Ottoman Empire did for 500 years and because of Hagia Sophia and so on. Imagine my surprise and my happiness. And I have to say praise and thanks be to Allah that at the State University of Moscow, when I addressed the round table conference, the reception that I got was respectful and friendly. Alhamdulillah. The scholars who were present, including scholars in Russian Orthodox Christian eschatology, showed respect for me and were friendly. No one was hostile to me. And they expressed the desire that we would continue the dialogue. And so I was on my way, at the beginning of October, I was on my way to Moscow to give the second lecture. I left Trinidad and I flew to Cuba, Havana. And I was about to board, to check in for my flight, my Russian Airlines Aeroflot flight to Moscow, when the Russian manager of Aeroflot called me aside, and he had his Cuban assistant to help him, asked for my passport, asked for my ticket, checked it out, questioned me, and when everything was in place, he said, but I can't understand why the Americans don't want you to pass through their airspace. The aircraft had to fly through American airspace in the Atlantic Ocean for a few minutes on its way to Moscow. So he called the Americans on the phone, and the man spent, I don't know, about half an hour on the phone, trying and trying and trying to get the Americans. Why are you stopping the man for? What's wrong? Yes, the man is right here, standing in front of me. They were questioning him. But the Americans wouldn't budge. Imran Hosein is not allowed to pass through US airspace. So very sorrowfully they had to tell me, sorry, we can't allow you to board the aircraft. And I had to fly back home. Cost me 1500 USD. We then had to change the date of the lecture in Moscow. So now I'm flying through South America in February to South Africa, Johannesburg, and then to Malaysia. And then in the month of May, inshallah, I'll fly to Moscow for the second session. And this time I hope that we'll get a chance to meet with the leaders of the Russian Orthodox Christian Church to continue the dialogue, to try to establish friendly relations with them, because that is what the Prophet has prophesied. Guess who are the ones who are most angry with me for what I'm doing? The Salafi. Not those Salafi who accept what I'm saying to be correct and are friendly. The other ones who are Dajjal's warriors, waging their Yankee jihad because they're taking weapons and they're taking money from Saudi Arabia, which is a Zionist state, from Qatar, which is a Zionist state, from Turkey, which is a comfortable member of NATO. My last word to them, when they leave Trinidad to go to Syria to fight in their so-called jihad, my last word to them is, if you die, if you are killed in that jihad, that so-called jihad, I will not pray over your body, and I'll never stand at your grave, because you don't belong to us anymore. You belong to them, because of the words of the Quran. وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّهُ مِنْكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. We can pray, however, that Allah may guide them to the right path and recognize the error, that they might return before it's too late. رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ وَتُبْ عَلَيْنَا يَا مَوْلَانَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ بِرَحْمَتِكَ يَا